Morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. Coming to you with the first week one scoreboard and week two matchups video. Gonna take a look at the week one matchups, see what happened. Go into the week two matchups, take a look at who's playing each other. Maybe some little insight on who I think might win. But let's jump right into it. Take a look at the week one scoreboard. First, I got to start out with Aaron. Let me see her O face. This motherfucker put up ridiculous points. 148 to 78. Played me. Got my ass beat. He got production all the way through his lineup. Tom Brady leading the way with 34. Steve Smith from Carolina had 29. Bears defense even had 19, along with Matt Forte having 21. So he got ridiculous, point outbursts from a lot of people. Steve Smith was unexpected, big time, but he came through, and he was a big contributor to Aaron. Scoring 148. Was it a fluke? We don't know, but a good first step for Aaron in his first time in the league. So congrats to him. I was led by LaShawn McCoy with 25, and that was pretty much it. My team sucked ass. So we'll go back and go to the next matchup, which was Megatron's Army, which was Brock, changing names, to Kiss My Ash. Beat her 87 to 58. So I believe she was the low score of the week. Couldn't get really anything going. Ashley was led by Phillip Rivers with 17. That was her only player in double digits. So she's got some work to do, but she's got some good players. She'll bounce back. Brock was led by none other than Calvin Johnson with 20. Cedric Benson chipped in 18, and Tony Romo had 17. Chris Johnson, his number one pick, had 4, but could be some holdout rust. He'll shake it off. So duly noted, Ashley's bench did score 73, but Cam Newton will probably not touch 29 the rest of the season. We shall see. But no, good matchup for Brock. He starts out the year 1-0. Kept Ashley off my back, so we are tied at 0-1. Now, let's see. Next matchup: Team Regulators versus Team Badasses. Jabby, this is a close matchup. Jabby put up 110 to Mike's 95. Pretty close game there. It was really decided on Monday night with the Patriots game. Wes Welker coming up huge for Jabby with 28 points. It's got to be Wes Welker's biggest game since I can remember, fantasy-wise. Mike also got, good game from Mike Vick and Deshaun Jackson. So that was big in helping him get his 110. He had Mike Tolbert on the bench, who had 26, so it could have been worse for Mike. Mike maybe would have had a chance had he made, a couple different starts, possibly putting Cutler in there, maybe even Gronkowski. That was a hot pick at the draft, but he had 14 points, so it could have turned it around. But Mike was led. He had a lot of 15-point starts by Jones, Drew, McFadden, and Miles Austin. So good point totals for each team. Somebody had to lose, but Jabby pulls it out and is 1-0. Mike now 0-1. Kind of a big upset here. Make It Wayne, which is Eric, over Pimpin' Ain't Breezy. Nico was possibly the highest touted team coming in, being the ex-champion, having a great draft again. A great Thursday night from Drew Brees right away at 28. Ray Rice 26, and then after that, it got pretty bad for Nico. Only one other player in double digits, to Nick Folk and Mike Williams, each had 11. Eric started Arian Foster, who didn't even fucking play, and still pulled out an 8-point victory. Ravens defense pretty much carried him, 21 points there. Then he got solid output from receivers and Beanie Wells as well. He sat Tim Hightower at 15, but it didn't really matter. Nico really couldn't have played anybody else, possibly. Actually, if he'd have played the Falcons defense, he'd have pulled this one out. But you really can't play the Falcons defense ever. And then the last matchup of the week, Bolingbrook Blue Ballers versus Titletown USA. John pretty much expected to win this one, and he did, 86 to 71. John was led by numerous players. Actually had double-digit outbursts from all but 3 players actually. So he got consistent scoring through his lineup. Jared really struggled to find consistency, as it was pretty much Rogers and Hakeem Nicks, Andre Johnson in double digits. Everybody else pretty much 1 and 2 point totals. So he struggled a little bit to score there. And he did score quite a bit of points off the bench. He sat Kenny Britt, who had 25. Jordy Nelson had 13. So he could have made it close, but I still think John would have won this one. So good matchup there. John expected to start at 1-0, and he did, so congrats. Let's take a look at the Week 2 scoreboard now. Take a look at some matchups. There's some pretty good ones in there, so I'll try and go in depth with this. First, we'll go with I'm always at the top because it's my computer. Polish Pounder at Make It Wayne. Eric's probably going to get me in this one. You look at those check marks now. He's got double-digit projected scoring from everyone but Adam Vinatieri. Projections, I don't weigh too heavily on him, but his team can score, and hopefully they just don't score this week because I need a win. Next matchup is going to be, this is a big one in my mind, 2 1-0 teams, the Regulators and Megatron's Army. If you look at the projections, actually the check marks, which are bullshit, favor the Regulators. Brock's starting Matt Stafford this week over Tony Romo, so he's going to go with the quarterback tandem this year. Chris Johnson expected to get 18 against Frank Gore 16, so that's kind of a wash as well. You look down at the number 2 running back, it's 16-13 in favor of Brock, so like I said, it's going to be a really close, I believe, high-scoring matchup. I'd say the big one is, tight end Antonio Gates over Kellen Winslow. But other than that, receivers are neck and neck. Defenses are right there with each other. So this is going to be a really good matchup. This is probably the matchup of the week. Be sure to watch this one because it could get interesting. Here's another couple of 1-0 teams that are, made some preseason buzz. Let Me See Your O-Face versus Bolingbrook Blue Bars. John, change your name. It's too hard to say. Anyway, Tom Brady, huge week last week for Aaron. He's going to look to continue. John's got some good double-digit projections. But if you look at the check marks, Aaron is actually favored pretty heavily. Just with Tom Brady, Matt Forte, Steve Smith again. We'll see if he even touches double digits. I'm not sure. John's running backs scare me on a week-to-week basis. You look at Turner, Mendenhall, and Bradshaw. Any one of those guys could go for 20. So you never know what could happen there. But look out for this matchup. This should be a fun one as well. Next matchup features the ex-champ Pimpin' Ain't Breezy versus Kiss My Ash. Ashley's got double-digit scoring projections from just about everybody except the Packers defense. But if you look at the actual point totals, Nico's going to get huge weeks from Ray Rice, who's projected at 24, Drew Brees at 19, which he surpasses that almost every time. You're looking at Fitzgerald and Britt, each projected, combined 29 points. He's going to sit Sean Moreno. I don't believe Moreno's going to start. Colston's out, so Nico's got some injuries to deal with, so maybe Ash could pull the upset. But Nico's team looks pretty top-heavy this week with some projected points. So I'm going to go with Nico in that one. Next up, we got Team Badasses versus Titletown USA. Both are 0-1, looking for that first win. And if my computer wasn't being gay, I could scroll down and take a look at the matchup. It better not freeze. There we go. Anyway, Mike is heavily favored in this one. Projected point total, Jared's got Aaron Rodgers and Andre Johnson, and that is about it. Mike wins in just about every other category. Running backs are really solid. Mike had a good week last week. With Steven Jackson hurt, though, he's got to find somebody to play the slot. So he looks like he's going to go with Devery Henderson. Flash in a pan. Maybe we'll see what happens there. But I got to go with Mike in this one. He's got a ton of projected points. Good matchups. And Roethlisberger's got to come through instead of that 5-point week last week. I'm going to project him somewhere in the 20s this week. So I'm definitely going to go with Mike on that one. So there's pretty much my week 2 assessment. of kind of some of the matchups. There's a lot of good ones. I really don't want to stake a claim on certain teams. You know, if I were to say who was going to win between Jabby and Brock, probably going to go with Brock in that one. And my computer's freezing up again. Even though Jabby's got the check marks, the matchups are so damn close. You know, he's got a ton of talent on that team. I expect Chris Johnson to probably have about 120 yards, possibly 2 touchdowns. So big week from him. You know, I'm going to project Eric to win over me. I always take my team, but I just don't like my team this year. Eric can score some points as well. I'm debating on the upset between John and Aaron. This is going to be another close matchup. I think some reason John's talent is going to pull through. Aaron's going to drop to 1-1. You know, maybe we'll see a more realistic point total this week, but I think John's going to take that one. If I go with, you know, between Ash and Nico, I got to go with Nico. He's just got a ton of talent on that team, especially with Ray Rice. You know, Drew Brees at the quarterback position. You know, Larry Fitzgerald's going to have another good year this year. So, you know, last year he didn't even have a good quarterback, and he still had over 1,000 yards and quite a bit of touchdowns. So, there's my little week 2 rundown. If you guys have any questions, I noticed there's already been a big trade. We got people dropping and picking up. So, just hang in there. You know, if you start out 0-1, big fucking deal. There's 13 weeks in a season. Hang in there, have fun with it, set that lineup. You know, look at projections. Don't always start the guy who has the biggest point total, because it's all bullshit. You know, they projected Roddy White at 23 points last week. He had 8. Actually 6. So don't look at the transactions. Go with your gut feeling. You guys know football. So yeah, already a big trade though. You know, you had Kenny Britt getting traded from the Packers to Nico for Joseph Adai. So that's a kind of a hot debated trade, but it was proposed before Britt's big day. So good trade there. It's probably going to help Nico. You know, always look at the notes. You know, I'm looking for a running back for Roddy White or Vincent Jackson, so hit me up. I know Jared's looking for a running back for Andre Johnson, so there's tons of top receivers out there to trade for if you're looking for one. You know, if you have any questions, you want to post about something, feel free. You know, I just woke up, so if I'm missing anything, feel free to write about it. But other than that, I'm pretty tired from softball last night. Fucking doubleheader, extra innings. Fucking beat. Anyway, so yeah, if you got any questions, go ahead and post about them. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys, and I'll have another video done probably next Tuesday or Wednesday. Alright, later guys. Good luck this week.